One can be posed with the question, how do you define a human being? Well, of course there's always the analytical and objective way of going about it, saying that humans are mammals with 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 heart, 1 brain, and many other basic components that make up a human. While I agree that this statement is a correct way to define what a human being is, physically speaking, there is so much more than just the biological processes of the human body. There is a personality, hopes, dreams, identity, all things that cannot be solely and completely defined by one single person. I believe that it is impossible to define what a human being truly is. When humans develop, they pick up different personality traits. Their hobbies change, and they begin to evolve psychologically. Each person on this planet has a different experience of their surroundings that impact them in some shape or form that contributes to who they are. Even in controlled environments, if 2 children would be raised exactly the same in the exact same conditions, I believe that even then they could not be defined as being the same human being. I believe that what separates us and makes it impossible to define a human being can be blamed on perception. Perception is what creates the difference between the 2 children who have been raised in the same conditions. If you were to make one of the children blind, they would completely perceive the world around them in a whole new way than compared to the child who can see. Their definition of what a human being is to them would be different than the child who can physically see a human being. Their minds are different. They think, act, and react in different ways. Each problem a human faces and perceives either brings out an aspect of or contributes to building their personality. With the idea that every human experience of different obstacles in their lives, the idea of a human being becomes so much broader. I asked a few different people on what they think a human being is and how you can define a human being. One person said, a person who walks on 2 legs, has communication skills, and has the ability to express thought. That is their definition of a human. Another person said, biologically, it's a mammal with thumbs, higher brain functions, and can speak. Both of these are very objective and analytical ways of thinking of what a human being is. And one person said, they are an organic being with a soul. They're alive, a Homo sapien with a consciousness, emotions, and a memory. And they also harm themselves consciously and put their survival in danger. This definition is much more broad, and it's not just focusing on the physical components of a human being, but also takes into account how they act, how they feel, their consciousness, and even their soul. This ties into what I think is the issue with society in this day and age. Society focuses too much on how to define a person, how to define identity, and how to define normal. We begin to look at it objectively. These vastly different definitions are what creates such a division amongst people. If we were to stop trying to define such a complex mental image, then I believe that the everyday discrimination and criticism would just go away. If we accept that there are no feasible ways to label what a human being truly is, then we cannot argue that someone different than ourselves is not human or does not deserve the same respect that we do. The end.